Hey everyone, Trev here at the Dark Room. So as you probably know by now, Harman Photo, the maker of the iconic black and white Ilford film, like say HP5, FP4, Pana 50, and many more. I just rhymed there, didn't intend to do that. They made the world's newest color film, as well as their first ever color film. And here it is. It's Phoenix 200. I'm sure you have seen a lot of this film the past week, but maybe you haven't seen this giant film box, which I got while touring the Harman factory in England, where they make this film as well as all of Ilford's black and white film. It was amazing to see what goes into not only black and white film, but making color film. We got to see the research and design part of it, the coding, the finishing. So much goes into it, and it's amazing what Harman is doing, because this is just an experiment. They just wanted to see if they could do it, and they did it on their fourth try. They had 3 runs prior to this version, and then on the 4th version, they came out with something that they really liked. And what you and I will be shooting in our cameras is the 4th run, and it took them just under a year to do so. And it's just amazing what they're doing, because when it comes to film manufacturers, there's not many film manufacturers that we hear talk about the future in years. You don't hear them talking 5, 10, 15 years down the road, and Harman does that. They talk about continuing to make Ilford black and white film, as well as continuing to make color film, because this is just a limited edition. And what they mean by that is that they know it's not a perfect film. They know that there are things that they want to improve upon it. So they want to make this film better, come out with new versions of it, and possibly other color film as well, which is really exciting. But while we have this film, let's talk about it. I want to give you some tips and tricks, some things that we learned about this film, because we were actually the first lab in the US to develop and scan this film. And when it comes to scanning, we use an Noritsu 1800, which is the lab scanner that Harman recommends. And right here, I actually have one of the test rolls. It's the same exact emulsion, same film that's in the rolls that you can purchase. It's just in this black canister, what they sent out to us, as well as some of the other testers. And this is the same cartridge that XP2 comes in, which is Ilford's black and white C41 film. So it's the same base as XP2. And this film also doesn't have a halation layer, which is similar to CineStill film. It doesn't have a halation layer, meaning that if you focus on, say, me right here, I'm in focus, but anything that's a highlight out of focus in the foreground or in the background will have a red halo. And this film has a lot of that. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends, one, on your preference and the light that you are shooting in. And there are ways to avoid it. If you don't like halation, you want to shoot in more even, low contrast scenes without bright highlights in the out of focus foreground or background. Another thing that makes this film unique is that it doesn't have an orange layer. And while I don't completely understand everything about the making of film, I just know that an orange layer is something that helps control contrast. And this film has a lot of contrast. It also has very thin, very low exposure latitude, much like a slide film, which has low exposure latitude as well, compared to most color negative film has higher exposure latitude, meaning that you can give it a lot more light without blowing out your highlight. But what I learned from my first roll, which I actually shot in this Canon Rebel T2, pretty much all of the photos that you see on the darkroom that I took were taken with this Canon Rebel T2 and this 40mm pancake. That's because this camera has a very accurate, very good modern day meter, and I wanted to make sure that I was metering for it very precisely. I rated everything at 200 ISO. That is its box speed. You can change it up. I prefer to shoot it at its box speed, and if I want to give it a little bit more light, I will do so in metering. But anyways, my first roll had some of my least favorite results. And that's because I just didn't know anything about the film. I didn't know much about how high the contrast was. I didn't know about its grain and all of that, and how low its exposure latitude. So I got a lot of blown out highlights, some pretty funky colors because I missed my exposure. And I learned a lot from that roll. So my second roll and my third roll and my fourth roll were much better. So I want to give you some tips and tricks so you don't have the same experience that I had on my first roll. So first off, this film, like I said, has high contrast, low exposure latitude. So what I recommend is looking for good, consistent light. For instance, this scene right here without this light right here would be relatively consistent light because the light that's hitting my face is very similar to the light in the background. If I were to meter for this scene right here, I would meter for the midtones, which is my skin tones right here. And by doing that, it will preserve the midtones and have this natural shadow and won't blow out the highlights. If I were to meter for the highlights, like this hoodie or that light, it would underexpose the shadows a lot as well as the midtones. And that would add a lot of grain and probably make the colors look pretty funky. If I were to meter for the shadows, like say right here or these monitors back there, I would blow out the highlights up here and it wouldn't look good. You'd probably see a lot more halation. So what I recommend is looking for consistent, good light. And if you want to control that contrast, look for more even, low contrast light as well. And if you're shooting in bright sunlight, like I said, make sure to meter for the midtones so you don't overexpose the highlights too much. It's amazing the difference this film can look depending on the light and depending on your exposure. Just one stop can make a big difference with this film, and also just the time of day and the light can make a huge difference with this film as well. Another thing to keep in mind is that this film does some very interesting things with indoor light. It goes green oftentimes, and which can work sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. So it just depends. Think about the light that you're shooting in. It definitely does lean towards green, especially when there's artificial light. But it can also be kind of warm sometimes. It just depends on the light that you are shooting in. Another thing that you can play around with would be flash. Just don't overexpose it, but when you do flash right, it can do some pretty interesting things. It can add some really vibrant, very unique color. I also did some double exposures with this film and was pleasantly surprised by the results. They look great. And another thing is that this film looks pretty good when printed. I've got a lot scanned from it, and then we got it printed on some of the pearl, more matte paper, and it looked really good, but it also looked good on the glossy as well. So if you want to see this film in a completely different way from the scans, we recommend getting some prints as well, because it looks pretty good printed. And be sure to tag us, mention us in your posts, because we want to see all of our customers' Phoenix 200 results. It's just a really exciting thing. And let us know if you have any other questions in the comments below, because I would love to help and answer any other questions that I did not address in this video.